Good morning, colleagues from the media. We want to thank you for always honoring our invitation to come to Najana Nkumbi. The party spokesperson is unable to be here, so I stand in for him, and I've been sent to address a few issues, but later the women will come to say things. They are still making some preparations, and they'll come and speak to the nation. The first issue I've been sent to address about is the 5-day house arrest, illegal arrest, that has been put at the home of Dr. KIZZA Besigye in Winja Zone, Kasangati. Since Thursday, when he woke up and wanted to move from his home and wake up Ugandans about the escalating commodity prices that has affected this country, the police swung into action, manhandled him and carried him like a chicken thief and threw him back home. They picked his car, took it to police, picked one of the boys that work at his place and arrested him, plus other 2 colleagues that have been eventually arrested and put into jail, one in Kawempe and I think another one in Katwe. Dr. Besigye was rising up because the government that collects taxes every day has not come out to say a thing or to even try to give remedies on how this problem is going to be addressed. As you're aware, they've been telling us of how we have been affected by the war in Ukraine, but we have never been told of the effect of the war in the DRC. But as you must all be aware, at the end of last week, the president of Ukraine said he does not know when this war will end. Others think it will be a war of years, that will spend years. But in Uganda, we are being told by those who are in charge of addressing our challenges that they have let the economy to go in auto drive. A plane that goes in auto drive works in countries where there are no addresses. There is a GPS. But putting our economy in auto drive means that Ugandans, you are on your own. The Prime Minister came out and said, if prices of soap have increased, we should go and use pawpaw leaves. When the CEO of this country came up and was told that bread is expensive, he asked us to go and eat cassava. As you are aware, that if it went to the market, cassava that is equivalent to a bread is also about 5,000 shillings. But countries across in the East African community, the Kenyans remember the Kenyan president during COVID was cutting taxes. We are aware, you saw him trying to give out money or what we would call relief so that the people engage in the economy. On the Labor Day, we saw President Uhuru increasing the minimum wage by 12%. Over the weekend, we learned that the Tanzanian president also increased the salaries by 23%. So all those are interventions are meant to make sure that somebody has what we call disposable income so that we reduce the shocks of these escalating prices. But ours have actually been caused by many things, even actually more than what we would call the Ukraine crisis. You must be aware that about a quarter of our next budget is going into debt servicing. Sorry, a third, because if you have a budget of 47 trillion and about 15 trillion are going debt servicing, that tells you it's money that you're not going to use. So you see a president who moves with about 80 vehicles. We have a cabinet that has 80 MPs, 80 ministers, which is bigger than a standard classroom by UN standards. Because a standard classroom has to have 40 students. But we have 80 duplicating ministers, even those of general duties, whatever general means, we don't know, somebody without portfolio, and all the rest. So all those impact on the economy. As we are getting to the elections, you remember about 10 cities for political capital were put in place. About 70 constituencies were put in place. All of those go to the cost, to the government expenditure that is not productive, that affects our people. So Dr. Besigye coming out was calling on to government to intervene in this kind of situations. We're asking government, at this time, the president has the mandate of going before the constitution and says, I only now need 23 ministers. You patch all, you say about 5 ministers, those are, minister of state for about 4 ministry. In one ministry, you have about 5 people. Give it one person. So at the end of the day, 5 cars are going to be packed, 5 salaries are going to be withheld. We are asking, send the RDCs home. Because what the RDCs are doing is what the chairman LC5 is doing, it's what the DPC is doing, it's what the CAO is doing. So all those will help to intervene in this kind of crisis. But for them, they're eating bread and butter and milk, and they're asking us to grass. That tells you of what was happening in the animal farm. That the pigs must eat bread, must take milk, because they must think. They must eat eggs, but for you must grass. But possibly in the animal farm, they could have been thinking, but what are these guys doing? Because today, when you're running the numbers, for a year, fuel prices have increased by 64%. Soap has increased by about 34%. So when you look at even the figures of inflation we are being given are actually not right inflation. Because when you tell us 3%, you just go and add on, you just go and compute on every commodity you're buying. And then last week, the Bank of Uganda tells it all. That's only 1 million working class group that earns, 1%, that earns above $1 million shilling. And 50% of our working class earn 150,000. They're only scared of telling you, those guys that work in the industry, who earn less than 90,000 shillings per month. So if you pick 90,000 shillings to go and buy a bowl of 10,000, go and buy kerosene, 2 liters, 10,000. You go and buy soap, you go and buy bread. At the end of the day, the guy will come home with a small kavera. These are the people that Dr. Besigye is talking about. That the government has decided not to talk about them. When Mr. Museveni called his ministers, talk about prices, he only spoke about the war in Congo. The second time he called them, he was speaking about coffee. But these issues, I think they find they have no solution for them. They've decided to keep quiet. And the report also goes ahead and tells you that most of these people during COVID, they decided to do some little saving and invested in our culture. As you're aware, in a few years, people have been investing in coffee because that's been branded the black gold. People thinking that, you know, when you leave business and go back and make sure that you engage in some kind of agriculture, possibly you will be able to pay for your children. Now a man who comes and talks about it is incarcerated home. We had a court order about 5 years ago that outlawed, said it is illegal to keep Dr. Besigye at his home by the police. But you wonder, these poor men in uniform beating the poor men who are hungry for the benefit of the rich men, not in uniform and not hungry. It is a question of the captives, or what we call the happy slaves. Other people call them useful idiots. So these happy slaves, because they're earning something little, they feel it is just enough for them to come and brutalize Ugandans. Those who have gone to Kasangat, you must now see that now Dr. Besigye's gardens are now smelling poop. Because these guys were brought without toilets. So whoever wants to, nature comes in, they go to Dr. Besigye's farm. Now if it rains, we shall see cholera. So we are asking those in charge to immediately remove police from the home of Dr. KIZZA Besigye. We are asking them to attend to the issues that we are addressing. Because wanting to silence the messenger does not remove the message that he is putting out. The other issue that I have been requested to inform you about is the issue of the increased road accidents on Ugandan roads. Statistics are showing that about 21 people die every day on road accidents, which is about 7,665 people annually. It is actually competing with other kind of diseases like malaria. Actually, our numbers of COVID did not get even to this number. In 2012, we lost about 9,030 people because of road accidents. And we've also realized that about 42%, 42 out of 100 people who die on those roads are pedestrians, not in the cars. And then 62% are between the age of 15 and 44 that die in those accidents. That tells you that actually most of the people who die in these accidents are the breadwinners. So you must know that many people, when they die, that most of their children never got back to school. Many business break down, and the government loses a lot of taxes. And it is also believed that with these kind of accidents, about 2.9 of Uganda's GDP is lost annually because of these accidents, which is about 1.6 billion US dollars. And these are, most of these accidents are accidents that are caused by how our policy framework is in as far as road and transport management is concerned. Because we wonder why roads that are main roads that connect to this city are not dual carriage. Because when you have a dual carriage road like this one you see, it means that you reduce the number of accidents that come because of head-on collision. Because of most of accidents are head-on collision. Then others are because that somebody is like gets some kind of surprises on the road. You think something is crossing and all of a sudden you hit, you get off the road. And then the other thing is that you see our roads are narrow. We also realize that one of the reasons why this Massacre Road is becoming an issue, when it rains, the road is too slippery. Then there are times when we look at these roads and you see how they are fixed. You find that the way they are fixed is very poor, that eventually a pothole keeps growing and growing and growing. Then you find that some of our roads have very sharp corners. So that as somebody goes to a corner, some others even fail to get the balance and they roll off, or others find other cars coming and then they hit each other. So we realize that there is need to invest a lot in these roads to make sure that roads are designed in a way that different road users have where to pass. Because as I told you, 42% of the people who die in these accidents die because of who die are actually pedestrians, people who are just walking. So we do not have walkways on our roads. Where you are passing is where border is passing, where on the same road there is a truck that is passing. On the same road there is a fast car, and then eventually as they are moving, they find a hump that is not announced, and then you find that there are many accidents that we find on our roads. So we seek that those who make decisions in this country try to make sure that they invest a lot of money in roads and put them to an act, because currently Uganda is #1 in the region, the East African region, and as far as accidents are concerned. So the number of people that we are dying and the amount of money that we lose, that we shouldn't have lost, that money can be saved when the right things are done. And lastly, I want to inform the country that in Omoro we are able to nominate our candidates. As some of you must have been aware, our first candidate, Mr. Dick Owani, was who we had unveiled here at Najana Nkumbi. He told us that his academic documents had been confiscated or stolen by those who abducted him. But of course, we also hear it is alleged that possibly there is a hand, there is a group of people that are moving around Akchori to buy off those who are competing. Journalists, you must also be interested in the people who always come as unopposed. Many of those who come as unopposed are very dubious people. They buy off, they threaten, they intimidate, they put colleagues in prison and the like. So here, so and so, honorable so and so is unopposed. Chairman LC5 is unopposed. You remember when they did it in Karamoja, when we had nominated a lady called Adiak, and Adiak was given money to withdraw, but when we went and checked the laws, because the party sponsors the candidate, we said she cannot be withdrawn. So we went on the campaign when actually the physical candidate had actually resigned, had actually withdrawn. We want to tell colleagues, especially those in NRM, this kind of politics that was here in 1980 can never grow democracy. It only helps to satisfy yourself, but breeds a lot of anger among the people and eventually can cause mayhem in this country. You feel you have the numbers when actually those numbers are artificial. Thank you. Those are the issues that had come to had been. Actually, some of us wouldn't be taking their documents whenever there is an election. At every election is a new event. You must present documents required. So we couldn't. Then the other thing, just in being prepared, yes, he has been chairman of the district of Omoro. He has been chairman of a sub-county. So he actually has even been running, one of the people that were supposed to be running this campaign. So a politician, if you're running somebody's campaign and you are speaking about him, what changes only that now you speak about yourself? The issues of Omoro, he's a man who has been on the ground and is very aware of the issues that must be addressed in Omoro.